Goodness gracious. So we were talking about the offense. And I told Copes I didn't have a problem with the offense. Like, the red zone has been an issue, but they're moving the ball. Purdy, I think, has looked really good. They're running the ball. Maybe you see it differently than I see it, but if they tighten up in the red zone a little bit and, take care of the ball, of course, that's always a given. But they're moving the ball on everybody. Like, I don't think it's an offensive problem with this team. They've switched now from an offense isn't a problem. The defense is the problem, where it used to be vice versa back in 2019. But how do you see the offense?
Well, Tom, if we're going to, remember, we go through the lens every week talking about a championship team, Super Bowl, like that's Super Bowl or bust, right? So, and that's why we have to, I hear you, but when you tell me last week, if I didn't know anything else, but they scored one touchdown and gave up three turnovers, then you say, well, that's a problem. Yes. No matter how much you're moving the ball. So in other words, if we're going to be championship football, then we're not looking to be just, hey, we're not a problem. And I can.
No, but they should have won that game too.
Well, when you score 0 points in the second half, you should have won. Like, we get a turnover, we get a block kick and 7 points, and yeah. But what I'm saying is, we're acting like. Every week when I was playing, it felt like when we play the Falcons, or we play the, and every week afterwards they're like, we were, if we just would have, and except for that, and we're right there. And it's like, it seems like if you're not careful, what you're saying becomes part of the problem. It's like, no, it's okay, we're fine. And I think that it's the exigency of saying it's not okay, it's not fine, is probably really important right now, despite the fact that I recognize you're right. We're moving the ball. We're red zone. I would say this about the red zone. In the old days, 20 years ago, the red zone was really about, what I call retail. Call the play, figure out how to make the best out of the play. And, but today the red zone, and you saw Kyler, you see Lamar, you see Josh Allen, like even Patrick this week, everything in the red zone is just art. It's like wholesale stuff. It's like, it's not the play that's called in the huddle. It's like afterwards, it's something else. And they kind of figure out how to kind of attack it in different ways. And you heard Brock after the game talk about, what, I saw something in my red zone kind of decision making that I'm doing it by the book, kind of retail, like he said. And he's going to think about it in a different way. Maybe I need to attack in a more what I would call artful or wholesale way, where it's like, that's how I'm going to put it in the end zone. And we have to start doing that. Last year was an anomaly. Lead the league in red zone, dominate from the retail market by just calling good plays and throwing in the end zone. That's amazing what we did last year. And maybe we can get back to that, but until we do, we're going to have to go a different direction. And I think Brock's actually thinking about it that way.
Yeah. Well, maybe we're a little bit different. You're Super Bowl or bust. I'm wild card or bust. So it's a little.
Yeah, 9 and 8. That's what we're looking for, Steve. Here, 9 and 8.
That's what I'm looking for.
We might. It might be the Copes and Young show here in a minute. Like, we can't have that.
Oh, nothing wrong with the wild card, Steve. There have been winners come from there too. There have been winners come from there too. How would you assess? What I wanted to ask you. That last pick that Purdy threw where he got hit on the blitz. We've talked about this, and I didn't know the answer to this, but I had wondered how much of that is on Purdy, if any, because it's a free blitzer. But if it's a free blitzer and no one's in the backfield to pick it up, then he's got to be accountable for that guy and know that guy's coming and get rid of it a little bit quicker. That's what I was thinking. Again, I could be wrong. Maybe none of it's his fault at all. How did you see it?
Well, in the end, it's important, and I think this is how you win next week, is as a quarterback, the ball was in my hands, and now it's in their hands. And so there's truth. There might have been a free blitzer that I didn't know about. There might have been truth that didn't get picked up right. But the truest truth, above those truths, is the ball was in my hand, and now it's in their hands. And so I think as a quarterback, it's important for him, and I'm sure he's doing that. It's on me. Like, I should have known that there was a free guy. I know that I've got to get rid of it. I know that, in other words, we can argue it all day long. But if you're going to be in the Super Bowl, if we're going to be a championship team, we start by saying it's Brock's fault because it's that's the way the quarterback should be. And he would be the first to tell you that that's the case. Now, the actual details of it, I got to believe that the overload was there. the line, for whatever reason, didn't turn that way, which was odd. And so, but obviously that was the call. And if that was a mistake, that's on the line. But if everyone knew it and Brock should have known, then they've got to know there's a free guy and I got to beat that guy. So, the details of it we can work out, but the bottom line as a quarterback, you own those.
Talking to Steve Young, like we do every week, joins us on the UMA guest line. By the way, the Steve Young Show is sponsored by Putnam Family Dealerships, car shopping driven by you and by Friedman's Appliance, proudly serving all of Northern California with a wide selection of luxury appliances. Visit them in Pleasant Hill to see the Friedman's difference. For the Red Zone, I know that we're talking about how they get creative and how much success they had there last year, but doesn't it just all come back to Christian McCaffrey? 18 of his 21 touchdowns came from the Red Zone. Is it that simple that's why they were so good there last year?
Is it really? I mean, it could be. He was player of the year. I mean, it was like he was dominant. I never felt like we couldn't, he's a huge, important, vital, amazing player, but we have so many other guys. Yeah. One of the things about the 49ers is how many guys that we can deploy. And I got to believe that Kyle knows that we talked about it last week, that Juwan at the receiver can help replace Christian because of the way that Kyle has these unique ways to deploy people in space, and that's what you want to do in offense today. And especially with Debo. Debo is, in many ways, can kind of mirror what Christian's doing. So I hear you, and maybe Christian is that dominant of a player that we just don't have anybody else that can really do that. I got to feel with our innovative mind that we have at calling the plays, and with the personnel that are kind of superior to everybody else, we can figure that out. So I just don't want that. To me, that can't be the excuse. Oh, Christian's going to come back and save the day. Is that really the team we are?
Well, I don't think
really. I don't think that's the case. Now, you might be right. It might be that it's just we're a decent team, but without Christian, with Christian we're a Super Bowl team. Without him, we're just a middling. Maybe we win a game here and there kind of team. That just doesn't make sense to me.
No, I think I'm speaking more to the Red Zone than the team itself. Because to your point,
but that's where it all happens.
Yeah,
that's except for the Red Zone.
No, not the. No, I'm saying the numbers in which they're still going to the Red Zone are tops in the league. They're not converting at the rate they did last year, and the difference is no McCaffrey.
I'm with you. I'm with you. But again, that's where it all happens anyway. And if we're going to be great, then we got to we should be great in the red zone and in the middle of the field. The middle of the field is commodity work. I mean, that's everybody's in the middle of the field going down the other side of the field. It's who can put it in. And so I just can't believe, I'm not willing to say that without Christian we can't thrive. And that, maybe they're going to prove us all wrong. Yeah. That we really, it is about him. He's the secret. I hate to believe that that's the team that we are.
Steve Young in brass tacks mode today. Just period. Just I don't want excuses. I don't want you're really close.
It's that time. It's kind of like this is the week that if you're going to lead this football team, if you're going to fight back out of this, because tomorrow you lose and you're 0-3 in the division, you can talk about think about the Super Bowl hangover. Everyone talks about Super Bowl hangover. What is that? Well, what it is that you're a great football team. You know that you're one of the best or best in the league. And so you come back, and it's not hubris. It's not like, oh, we're just going to dominate. But what happens is you're good enough to beat most of the rank-and-file teams in the league, and so you kind of just make it happen. And then you make sure in the big games you rise up and you're ready, and that's kind of how you get to the Super Bowl. And what the hangover is that you take these rank-and-file games, and you maybe don't just not ready to play as much as you really should have been, and before you made the Super Bowl, you didn't have that same attitude. And so to me, if we're good, or if we're going to be great, I think tomorrow is a referendum, because we've kind of muddled around, and we kind of got punched in the face a little bit. We didn't expect, to your point, Tom, we had these games and it just kind of weird stuff happened. Okay, then you should be the kind of team that can say to themselves, hey, it stops here. This is where, no more. And so a dominant performance tomorrow would show me, don't worry, everybody. We're fine. And, there's a little bit of, we had a little hubris, or we weren't, we had some injuries and some weird stuff, but we're fine. A dominant performance. Tomorrow, when we go down to the wire and maybe we make it, maybe we don't, tells me that this team maybe isn't today, as of now, ready to go the distance. And that's not what we thought, 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Yeah. No, I get exactly what you're saying, and I guess what I was saying is it doesn't feel like they're that far off. Like there's a few things here, a few things there. And to your point is that no, who cares? Like they need to fix it, they need to get it done. But it's not like, to me, they need to get a new engine. It's not like I look at this offense and think, man, boy, they need a bunch of new parts and this is a mess. It just feels like if I get a wrench and tighten this up and maybe change a spark plug, and it's like, boom, they're good to go. But they do have to do that. I can't keep saying like they're almost there.
I feel like you got to. We're a 30-point offense, week in, week out.
Yes.
And so when you're not doing it, it's always, no matter. Honestly, the Colts are now saying, you know what, we're close. We're not that far. I mean, name the team. They're all saying the same thing. The Jets, except for one player here, we'd be undefeated. I mean, that's where, unfortunately, as you know, Tom, I agree with you. We have everybody in place. We can do it. You can spend the rest of the season saying these kinds of things and end up, like you said, 8-9, and maybe outside of the playoffs. That's why I say it's a bottom line.
I get what you're saying.
I get what you're saying. It's a bottom line league, and it's a bottom line week. This is a bottom line 24 hours. Like, look, I don't want to hear anything other than we're going to go out and dominate somebody and just shove it down their throat. I mean, that's all we got today.
I'm with you, because I think that's – look, I think when somebody says we're 3 plays away from being 5-0, that's loser talk. That's just absolute loser talk. Because then if I went back and watched those games, I'd be like, yeah, but you were 3 plays away from being 0-5. So don't give me the 3 plays away. To me, this is more than 3